Okay. Okay, let's rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please continue to stand as we have a moment of silence for our veterans. For the invocation tonight, we have Reverend Rick Massano.
Before I start, I'd like to mention something that happened today. While I was out helping one of our neighbors jump his car with jumper cables, one of our councilmen drove down my street. And I invited the councilman to sit with me and sit on my porch, and we discussed some things. I've been doing some studying. I am a chaplain, okay? A chaplain takes care of all religions. That's what I do. That's why I service the UAW, I service police department, and whatever, all right, and service this. I did some studying on Quakerism, and one of my bosses in the plant was a Quaker. Quakers are conscientious objectors, and they're pacifists. And I understand why he does not do the thing, but he comes to the meetings. He comes to the veterans things. I just want to say something. We got to start getting along together. We're all one. We're all Americans. And we need to really start to really get together. This is for our town and for our residents, okay? I sat there and watched this. I just pray that we could have peace tonight, and that's what I'm going to ask for. Let's pray. Father, I want to thank you for each and every one here. And I thank you for, Father, the differences in each and every one here. And I ask, Father God, in the name of your Son, Jesus, Father, that you would touch each and every member here. That you would touch this board and touch this meeting. That, Father, whatever is being said and done to be accordance to your will and to be gratifying in your sight. Iron sharpens iron. Yes, we'll have disagreements. Yes, we'll have yelling matches. But you know what? We still love each other. We still care about the people, the residents that elected us. And, Father God, that you would bless this board, bless this meeting, for we ask it in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. Madam Clerk, could I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Christine Adamsack.
Here.
Councilmember Linda Hammer.
She's absent.
Excused, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Councilmember Michael Jasinski.
Here.
Councilmember Gerald Kaminsky. Councilmember Brian Nowak.
Present.
Councilmember Brian Pilarski.
Present.
And Supervisor Benchkowski.
Here. Okay, we have 6 here tonight. Public comment period. Well, I'll read the notice. This is an opportunity for residents to comment on items appearing on the agenda of the town board meeting tonight. The public comment period should last 15 minutes maximum. Each speaker may speak only once, and each speaker shall be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes speaking time. Oh, thank you, Becky. Thank you so much. We have one resident tonight, Dave User.
Resolution 12 and 13. I hope the town looks at this site plan a little bit closer, because I looked at Quixley today on this, and there's a lot of things I think should be looked at on this resolution. Like how their means of egress and how close they are to Chrisfield. It says that there's only 4 employee parking spaces. They're only gonna have 4 employees at this place? Pretty big place. I lived in this neighborhood my whole life. I know the whole neighborhood, probably better than anybody around here except maybe Jerry. So maybe somebody just should be looked at a little bit better. And when we do have a comment on this, I will be there. And the other thing is Mark brought up, okay, redoing Raymond Street. And it said about doing curbs. When we redid other streets, weren't the residents charged for curbs? Because there's no curbs on Raymond Street. So when we revamped a lot of streets in the town, and Mark's here, he could probably answer it. weren't the residents charged for the curbs when we put them in on streets that didn't have curbs?
Yeah, and that's the plan, I think.
Okay,
yes.
because I didn't see none. All I just seen up
Yeah.
there says curbs, and I heard no words said that
Well-
the residents, and if, I know people on that street, and I don't know if anybody ever got notified of that yet.
Well, that's for next year anyway.
Okay, but I'm just
So,
saying,
they
because
wouldn't get
there are no
notified.
curbs on Raymond Street.
Right.
I go down that street every day. So, okay, thank you.
I think because it's community development funds too, so we could do that. with
And as,
some of that. Yes. Mhm.
as
they
for
would have to.
Resolution 12, it's only a call for a public hearing to address those exact
So-
issues. So it's not passing anything for zoning or switching it to retail business. It's just a call for a public hearing.
Okay, we'll call this public hearing, or this comment period to a close, and move on to the consent agenda announcement. Tonight, we have a consent agenda as part of this meeting. If any council member wishes to remove an item for discussion, please tell me now, and I will remove the item from the consent agenda, and it will be added as a separate resolution item. As for me, I would like to remove and vote on separately Resolution 2022-394, 95, 96, 97, 98, and 99.
In addition to that, can we add numbers 5, 6, and 15 to that list?
94. Anybody else? Just want to make sure I had those right. Okay. Madam Clerk, do you have all those? One, two, three, yep, there's 6 of them. 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, and 99. And then Councilmember Pilarski removed. Okay, then I need a motion to approve the meeting agenda as presented. Councilmember Pilarski, seconded by Councilmember Adamzak. Anybody on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Madam Clerk, back to you.
I have a motion by Supervisor Benchkowski, a second by Councilmember Pilarski to approve all items on the consent agenda, including the meeting minutes of June 14th, 2022, and resolution items 2022-367 through 402. We will recognize that resolutions that are going to be taken as a separate resolution item are 371, 372, 381, 394, 395, 396, 397, 398, 399. I need a roll call vote to approve the rest of the items on the consent agenda. Councilmember Adamzak?
Yes.
Councilmember Jazinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaminsky? Councilmember Nowak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Yes.
And Supervisor Benchkowski?
Yes.
All items on the consent agenda, the rest of the consent item agendas have been passed. We are moving on to resolution items. Resolution 5, sponsored, we need a new sponsor, so we need to amend this resolution for a new sponsor, please. A motion to amend resolution? Councilmember Nowak? Second by Councilmember Adamzak. The amendment is to change Councilmember Adamzak as the sponsor and Councilmember Nowak as the second. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Resolution 2022-371, sponsored by Councilmember Adamzak, seconded by Councilmember Nowak. There exists an agreement between the Town of Cheektowaga and the University District Community Development Association for the acquisition, construction, and resale of 89 Gardenvale Drive. The Director of Community Development has recommended the town provide the necessary $129,906.70 of additional home funds to cover the additional costs of the new construction and amend the schedule for performance. The town board hereby approves the attached amended Exhibit B, amended budget, and amended schedule for the agreement with University District Community Development Association for the acquisition, construction, and resale of 89 Gardenvale Drive. Supervisor being hereby is authorized and directed to execute an amended agreement with the University District Community Development Association, subject to approval and review by the town attorney.
Anybody on the question? Madam Clerk, could I have a roll call vote?
Councilmember Adamzak?
Yes.
Councilmember Jazinski?
Yeah.
Councilmember Kaminsky? Councilmember Nowak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Abstain?
And Supervisor Benchkowski?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Resolution 2022-372, we need to amend that resolution as well. Can I have a motion to change the mover to Councilmember Adamzak and second Councilmember Nowak? Motion by Councilmember Nowak, second. Councilmember Adamzak, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Resolution 2022-372 is sponsored by Councilmember Adamzak, seconded by Councilmember Nowak. There exists an agreement between the Town of Cheektowaga and the University District Community Development Association for the acquisition, construction, and resale of 36 Peachtree Road. The Director of Community Development has recommended the town provide the necessary $120,224.70 for additional home funds to cover the additional cost of the new construction and amend the schedule of performance. This town board hereby approves the attached amended Exhibit B, amended budget, and amended schedule for the agreement with University District Community Association for the acquisition, construction, and resale of 36 Peachtree. The supervisor being hereby is authorized and directed to execute an amended agreement with University District Community Development, Inc., subject to the approval of the town attorney.
Anybody on the question? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Adamzak?
Yes.
Councilmember Jazinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaminsky? Councilmember Nowak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Abstain?
And Supervisor Benchkowski?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Resolution 2022-381 is sponsored by Councilmember Jazinski, seconded by Supervisor Benchkowski. The supervisor annually designates committee assignments to each Cheektowaga Town Board member as well as herself. The purpose of these committees is for the town board co-chairs to meet with their assigned department heads and/or assigned sub-boards or subcommittees, gather information, and then report back to an open meeting to the entire town board. The town board committees may conduct formal or informal meetings. However, they cannot make decisions for the town board. Every town board member is encouraged to work on any matter that may be beneficial to the town of Cheektowaga residents. However, in the interest of better communication and avoiding duplication of projects, it has been customary that a town board member wishes to work on a matter outside his committee assignment, consult with the two assigned town board co-chairs of that committee. While each town board member is elected by residents of the great town of Cheektowaga, other committee members are appointed and not subject to the same scrutiny as elected town board members. Transparency is paramount to a democracy serving the people who elect representatives to make decisions on their behalf, and at times certain meetings related to these committee assignments have been held outside of the presence and knowledge of the designated town board co-chairs of its related committee, and a policy needs to be established to require the inclusion of these elected members. That in order to increase efficiency and communication amongst town board members, department heads, sub-boards, subcommittees, and town board committee chairs, this town board desires to establish a policy that if a town board member wishes to work on a matter in another town board's committee assignment, that they notify the two assigned town board co-chairs of their intentions and also include them on any communications and/or meetings. That all town board committees take steps to assure that their activities be conducted in a fashion compliant with New York State open meetings law. And albeit further resolved that effective immediately, this town board hereby adopts the above-mentioned policy relating to meetings and communications which fall within the purview of the town board committee assignments.
On the question?
Yeah, on the question, I think there's some good intent in this, but the language as it's presented in front of me, I have to vote no. I think we can go about this in a way where we get maybe monthly reports out from members to the board to the whole body. So as far as the larger spirit of this, I'm willing to work with you, Mike, and anybody else on the board on how to get communication improved, get closer to that answer. But I can't vote yes on this tonight.
Madam Clerk, could I have roll call then?
Councilmember Adamzak?
No.
Councilmember Jazinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaminsky?
No.
Councilmember Noah?
No.
Councilmember Pilarski?
No.
Supervisor Benchkowski?
Yes.
The motion has been defeated. Resolution 2022-394, sponsored by council members Nowak, Pilarski, Kaminsky, and Adamzak. Be it resolved that the individuals listed below be and hereby are transferred as indicated in the Department of Youth and Recreation Services effective immediately. And I won't read through the list. It looks like you should have it in front of you.
I'd like to table this motion.
I'll second it.
Resolution is tabled. No second is necessary.
I think it is, unless it's under waiver items.
No,
According to our
resolution.
policy, it is.
I don't believe so. Any resolution can be tabled by one person. As long as it's, unless it is a tabled item, then it needs a majority vote to retable it.
No, but according to our rules that we're still following, it does mention 2 votes are needed for the first tabling. It's
I
number
apologize,
3.
you're probably right.
of a resolution which may then be acted upon at the next regular town board meeting. Any further tabling of a resolution after first tabling must have a majority of all of the board members.
You are, I'm sorry. I was thinking of pulling a resolution. My apologies.
That's okay. So anyway, it's tabled, so we'll.
Yep, item is tabled.
It's 394.
Resolution 29 is 2022-395, sponsored by Supervisor Benchkowski, seconded by Councilmember Jazinski. Be it resolved that the individuals listed below be and hereby are transferred and indicated in the Department of Youth and Recreational Services effective immediately.
On the question, I'd like to table this one. Can we get a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion table.
Resolution 2022-396 is sponsored by Councilmembers Nowak, Pilarski, Kaminsky, and Adamzak. The individuals listed below be and hereby are hired as indicated in the Department of Youth and Recreational Services, effective immediately.
I'd like to table this motion, or I'm sorry, this resolution. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion is tabled.
Resolution 2022-397, sponsored by Supervisor Benchkowski, seconded by Councilmember Jazinski. Resolved that the individuals listed below be and hereby are hired as indicated in the Department of Youth and Recreational Services, effective immediately.
I'd like to table this motion.
I'll second.
Okay, resolution is tabled.
Resolution 2022-398 is sponsored by Council Members Nowak, Pilarski, Kaminsky, and Adamzak. Youth and Recreational Services Department is in need of hiring lifeguards for the summer 2022 season. Based on the above, the town board hereby exempts the following positions and individuals from town residency requirements. Hereby appoints them to the following respective positions, effective immediately.
I'd like to table this motion.
I'll second it.
And Resolution 2022-399, sponsored by Supervisor Benchkowski, seconded by Councilmember Jazinski, whereas the Youth and Recreational Services Department is in need of hiring lifeguards for the summer 2022 season. Based on the above, the town board hereby exempts the following positions and individual from town residency requirements, hereby appoints them to the following respective positions effective immediately.
This one, I'd like to take a roll call vote on.
Councilmember Adamzak?
Yes.
Councilmember Jazinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaminsky? Councilmember Nowak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Yes.
Supervisor Benchkowski?
Yes, motion carried.
Motion is carried. We do have some items under suspension of rules. I need a motion and a second to waive the rules to include the following resolution items 2022-403, 404, and 405. Motion by Councilmember Pilarski, second.
By Councilmember.
Councilmember Adamzak?
Yeah.
Resolution 2022-403. and sponsored by Councilmember Jazinski and seconded by Supervisor Benchkowski. Whereas the general permit for stormwater discharges from municipal separation stormwater sewer systems was issued to the town of Cheektowaga by the DEC, which requires the town to conduct a stormwater management program designed to reduce the discharge of pollutants from stormwater systems. The 19-year annual report of activities is required to be submitted to the New York State DEC following the receipt of public comment. The annual report has been prepared by the town engineer and is available for review and comment in the office of the town engineer. The supervisor is hereby authorized to execute the municipal compliance certification form for submission to the New York State DEC with the year 19 annual report.
Anybody on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 2022-404 is sponsored by Councilmember Jazinski, seconded by Supervisor Benchkowski. A vacancy exists in the position of working crew chief in the Highway Department. Joseph Horn, currently employed as the Motor Equipment Operator A in the Highway Department, bid on said vacancy and meets the necessary requirements for appointment. Joseph Horn of Depew, being hereby is appointed to the position of working crew chief in the Highway Department in accordance with the terms and conditions of the town's collective bargaining agreement with the Town of Cheektowaga Supervisory Unit, effective June 30th, 2022.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 2022-405 is sponsored by Councilmember Jazinski, seconded by Councilmember Pilarski. The New York State Assessors Association Cornell Seminar on Appraising is being held July 17th through July 22nd in Lake George, New York. The town assessor has submitted a request for travel authorization along with the proper paperwork in a timely manner. These expenses have been budgeted by the department. Town Assessor Joe Murphy and Assistant Field Assessor Michael Milks being hereby are authorized to attend the New York State AA Cornell Seminar on Appraising being held July 17th through July 22nd in Lake George, New York.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That is the end of our resolution items. Communications. For departmental communications, we received the Environmental Advisory Committee meeting minutes of May 25th. We also received the Veterans Affairs Committee meeting minutes of June 1st, the Planning Board meeting minutes of June 9th, and the Supervisor's Statement of Funds for February 2022. My office also received 2 notices of claim, a summons and notice, and an order from New York State.
Okay, I do not have any comments. Any council members?
I do. Yeah. Oh, did you want to go first? Yeah, go
but
for it.
It's up to, I'm going to call on Councilmember Adam Zach.
Sorry.
I just have a quick comment, and I just wanted to back up my reasoning for saying no to Resolution 15. We are all grown adults on this board, and I don't feel that Resolution 15 had to be put forth. There is no reason why we all cannot sit down as adults and talk. If we have committees that we have information about, we can simply pick up the phone, text, email, reach out to each other. This Resolution 15 did not need to be brought up. And the back and forth bantering did not need to be done. I can't even tell you what the residents say about this and how ridiculous we look sitting up here. I ask one more time, if we have an issue, can we please do it behind closed doors and talk about it and not sit up here and go back and forth at each other? That's all I ask. In Resolution 15, we could have sat down and all talked about it.
Councilmember Noah?
Yeah, both the town of Cheektowaga and Ucrest Fire Department are doing parades for the 4th of July, so I want to encourage folks to pick one of the two. I think the town one would be great to go to, but if you're in the Ucrest neighborhood, you don't have to travel too far. So, partake in the 4th of July ceremonies, and happy Independence Day to everybody.
Any other council members? Councilmember Jazinski.
I would agree with Councilmember Adamczak. It's too bad that a resolution as 15 would have to bring this to the forefront to show you that there is a lack of transparency and communication amongst board members, and that's why we're supposed to utilize the work session, which we haven't done. So I just hope moving forward that we can work on things. And what this is, it's a sad day for the people of Cheektowaga to see that as a board, there is no cohesiveness, that there are people talking outside of their committees regarding committees. So I hope today is just a day that can bring this all to the forefront and we can move forward and work as a board for our constituents and the better of the people of Cheektowaga.
Councilmember Pilarski?
So sitting on this board for the last 3.5 years, I've left many meetings embarrassed. It's embarrassing sometimes to sit up here. We're going to disagree on things. Things are going to get heated. We're going to yell. We're going to talk over each other. We're going to call each other out on lies or things like that. But we move on. Today, to attack somebody's religion, their faith, their beliefs, it's disappointing. I don't leave here today embarrassed for this board. I leave here today disappointed in this board.
Well-
Councilmember Jasinski, you wanted more?
Yeah, I mean, Brian is used to throwing the town under the bus as he's done on the news with Claudia Ewing. So he spoke on behalf of the entire town, the police, the department heads, everybody on this board when he told Claudia Ewing Cheektowaga is doing a bad job. I have to say, I think we've got some of the best men in blue in our town. I respect our police, and I'll stand by any move that they make. And to throw us under the bus like that is embarrassing. That you didn't have the conversation with the rest of the board, so you took it upon yourself to speak on behalf of all of us, when really you should have been speaking on yourself instead of speaking on behalf of everybody in this room.
It was definitely signed Councilmember Brian Pilarski, not the town board, and it has nothing to do with our great police department. We definitely lack minority and diversity in our workforce here in the town of Cheektowaga. And to not acknowledge that is almost as bad as calling someone out on their religion. It's embarrassing.
Has anybody on this board said that anybody of any religion, background, I mean, I live in a very diverse neighborhood. I grew up in one of the most diverse neighborhoods in the city of Buffalo. I grew up on the Lower West Side, where you had all kinds of walks of life, people of all different ethnic backgrounds, religions. So to say a false thing that I'm judging somebody based off their religion is just plain out lie. I respect everybody for what they stand for, but when it comes to our flag and the respect for our flag, it is, I mean, you could do a poll that I guarantee many people would be of the same opinion, that is disrespectful. It's no different from kneeling at a football game than putting your hand over your heart and pledging allegiance to that flag. That flag is the reason why everybody in this room has the freedom of speech and do what they do. Now, it's a double-edged sword, but it is also a respect thing. And in my opinion, and many other people's opinions, voice their opinion, by not putting your hand on your heart has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with respect of our flag and our country.
Well, I guess everybody's got a different opinion, and I can say this honestly, being former military, I've known a lot of people in the 78 years that I have been on this earth, and everybody has different beliefs and should never be condemned for it. And even as far as all this stuff, I guess we just got thrown under the bus again. And I think the part that's very interesting, being the old guy here, I've been here 11 years now, and it amazes me. And I want to ask a few questions. And I can start with Brian Pilarski. We ever had a problem, Brian, between us? Never?
Nope.
No. Brian's got a busy schedule. He's all over the place. Mr. Nowak, how often do we talk?
More than we should. Well, always make time when you call.
How often?
A couple times a week, maybe more.
Almost every day. Christine, how often do we talk?
Oh, Jerry, you're very long-winded.
Yeah, I don't say the same thing for Linda Hammer. You want to talk about communication, you know what? It's a two-way street. And the biggest part that's interesting, and don't take this the wrong way, Mike, and I think you passed a remark that you're so busy during the day you can only work for the town evenings and weekends. Is that correct?
Diane, have I ever answered your phone call during the day? Has there ever been an instance during the day, morning, noon, or night, that I haven't returned or called you back within
No,
5 minutes?
you always answer me
No,
immediately.
that's not what I had asked you.
All I've asked is, here's a proof. So we moved the meetings to 5:15 because I needed it because of my job, because I have to feed my family. So spitefully, they said, you know what, we're going to move the meetings back to 5 o'clock just to, prevent me from making the meetings on time. I mean, that's spiteful. I'm not here to be spiteful. I'm here to say, listen, there's a lot of problems we have in this town. but the problem we have with this board is, yeah, these people talk, but they don't talk to me, and they don't talk to the supervisor who runs this town, who is the leader head of this town. To me, that's a problem.
Anybody else? Thank you. We do have another public comment period. This is an opportunity for residents to comment on matters involving Cheektowaga. The public comment period should last 15 minutes maximum. Each speaker may speak only once, and each speaker shall be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes speaking time. First speaker is Dave User. Well, just in case. Got to be fair to
I want
everybody.
to give the town of Cheektowaga some credit and other municipalities for not giving off their employees on Juneteenth, okay? It is a union thing. I've been a union member for over 51 years, still pay union dues to this day, okay? Cheektowaga, a lot of Polish people in Cheektowaga. Look at this board. Look at the names in front of all of yous, right? We have a Polish Day festival. In Buffalo, we have a Dingus Day and everything else. We don't get off for any Polish people. There used to be a Pulaski Day parade downtown on Broadway. We don't get off for any Polish people, okay? I've been in a union over 51 years. I have not ever once gotten off for a white person. Never. So if you want to acknowledge Juneteenth, I got no problem with that. If the union in this town wants to change a day and I acknowledge that day, no problem. But I don't want to see this town board give them another day off. You know, it's going to be more money towards the taxpayers again. Everybody's complaining about assessments. Well, it's going to do, you know, you take every employee around here, and why would you shut down a town? I said this when I worked for GM. We never even got our birthday off. I could run a company if I gave everybody their birthday off because it would fluctuate and I had the manpower to fill them in. You're going to shut a whole town down again for another day? This is crazy. Acknowledge the day. Okay, we have many federal holidays in this country that we acknowledge, but we do not give them a day off for. Okay? And on your note, on the flag and everything else, my father was a veteran, all my uncles. My father was born on Flag Day. So, I mean, I acknowledge all these federal days off and everything else, Juneteenth, MLK Day, all of them. But I don't think we should give the employees another day off. If they want to switch one, fine. And like I said, you want to acknowledge the day, fine. But don't make it into another day off for no reason at all. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Dave. Next speaker is Elias Farah.
I don't talk too much, but just wanted to point out, because I was walking around the neighborhoods when we were before primary, and as some people have said, as Dave said, there's a lot of skis on the board and things like that. But some of the residents in my neighborhood, there's many people of color, and they do feel like they don't have any representation on the board or in the town. And from talking to some other people, there are ways that I think you may be able to increase some of the people having more of a voice, which would be to go to a district vote. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it or if you like the idea, but the district votes, even Mike, you might like it because it may give you more Republican seats on one side, but also in my area or an area that's along the city of Buffalo where I think in the town in general, people of color make up 15 to 20% of the population. But again, there's nobody on this board. I don't even think there's anybody in this room. So what I would say is if you go to that type of vote, it's kind of like how Buffalo does it. You get districts. So say down Harlem Road to the east side, that would be a district. You go around the airport level, that would be a district. The side of Cheektowaga that borders Lancaster, that's a district. A great advantage to that too is the people who are elected work right in their district. They don't have to go around the whole town, but also it does increase some of the diversity on the board. It gives more people a voice. That was something just that many residents kind of voiced to me, that they feel a bit disenfranchised because they don't think they have a voice on the board. And it's nothing against everybody having a ski last name, but a lot of it had to do with people don't want to get involved and people don't, not you, yeah. But a lot of the people just felt like they didn't have a voice, and I understand that. Being in the neighborhood, I mean, I would say a majority of my neighbors are people of color, and kind of to his point, even along the lines of the Juneteenth, it is a national holiday. A lot of the people that I spoke to said that it offended them because it seemed like people weren't taking a holiday for them seriously. But again, I think that maybe the town needs to have a look at district voting, which would be, again, it'll give probably Republicans on one side more of a vote, but also, as far as diversity goes, I think it would give people of color more of a voice in this town. So that's about all I have to say, and maybe we could work on that.
Thank you, Elias. Vicky Leader?
I just have,
Can you make sure you talk into that microphone? I can hardly hear you.
my voice is so loud. A suggestion, like for the seasonal workers. $15 an hour, you work your summer, at the end, maybe they get a small bonus. Whether that be financial, whether it be a gift, whatever it may be, it's an option. Instead of giving somebody a raise before they even start. I've never had that. My kids don't have that. So it's a suggestion. Q&A sessions would be nice for the residents. I started showing up to the meetings because YouTube comments were turned off. Couldn't comment, couldn't get an answer. I've emailed Mr. Polarski about that before. I haven't heard anything back. In my embarrassment, you run my town. You got to put your egos aside, everybody. It looks to me tonight like there was 4 against 2, and it was embarrassing. I'm really holding my tongue because I could lash out. Voting season, it's next year. You're up. I'm going to run because I have a mouth. I can get along with just about anybody. But this childish stuff is ridiculous. Brian, thank you for your service. I appreciate that. We are a family of veterans. That offends me. I'm not going, nobody went after your religion. I listened to it. I'm careful. Yes, I am friends with Mr. Jasinski. You're not, my grandfather, my husband, they can't hear because of their service. That's just heartfelt gratitude to the people that served. You're not posing your religious beliefs on a flag. That's just my opinion. That's all I have to say. I mean, this 15 agenda, we want transparency. The town people want it. I want to see you work together. Put your egos aside. Yes, you've been in business umpteen years. You have your businesses, your side stuff. Everybody does. I do myself. You're all adults. You all said it at the end, but you all took digs at each other. Every one of you. I'm ashamed. I really am. So thank you for that couple minutes.
Thank you, Vicki. Okay, with that being said, we do have an executive session with no action to follow.
Diane, may I say one thing?
Yes, we have a couple,
I didn't get a chance to sign it.
oh,
This is on a good note.
8:03.
I want to commend our police department, Chief Gould, Lieutenant Schmidt, Officer Nazareth, Officer Saborski, Jennifer. What they did for the Do the Right Thing program, it was beautiful over at the senior center. It really, of everything that goes on in this town, you look at these kids and how they were honored by your department, okay, really meant something to us. I mean, it was, the kids were so happy, the parents were happy, everybody was there, it was beautiful. I want to commend it. We do have problems, let's face it, we all do, but we can all talk it out. But what happened last week at the senior center with these children, that's a blessing for this, this community and for that department, because that department's the ones that
Thank you. Okay, I think we're out of time now for the meetings, or the public comment period. So I'll make the motion to go into executive session to discuss captains and lieutenants and TCEA collective negotiations. Wait, we're not done yet. The employment history of a particular employee, the contractual history of a particular company. Do I have a second? Councilmember Pilarski, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried with no action to follow.